Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine it's Bengaluru, maybe 2017 evening time. You got four really sharp people.
Hmm.
They all used to work at Flipkart, that high energy place.
Right.
They're just chatting, maybe over some chai at a local stall. And they're not just talking about anything. They've got this big idea bubbling up.
Hmm.
How to make investing, which honestly feels pretty complicated for most people. As easy as, say, ordering a pizza online.
I like that analogy. Simple, direct.
Exactly. Now, fast forward to today, May 24th, 2025. That little chai stall idea, it's exploded. We're talking about Groww.
Ah, yes. Grow.
Their parent company, Billion Brains Garage Ventures, great name, by the way, has just confidentially filed for an IPO.
Yeah.
And the numbers are, huge.
Yeah.
They're looking to raise somewhere between 700 million and maybe even $1 billion.
Wow, $1 billion. Just let that sink in for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, with that kind of money, you could genuinely buy a small island somewhere. Or maybe more relatable for us, a lifetime supply of really good samosas.
I like the samosa metric better.
Me too. But seriously, beyond just the massive number, this IPO is, it's really big deal. It says a lot about where finance is heading in India.
Absolutely. And that's really what we want to dig into today, isn't it? This deep dive is all about understanding why this Groww IPO is such a significant moment, what it means for India's whole financial system, and maybe most importantly, what it means for you listening right now. Especially if you've ever felt, a bit lost trying to figure out investing.
Exactly. So where did it all kick off? You mentioned Bengaluru.
Yeah, the origin story.
Right. So back in Bengaluru, you had these four founders, Lalit Keshar, Harsh Jain, Ishan Bansal, and Niraj Singh. Their time at Flipkart was crucial.
Why Flipkart specifically?
Well, they saw firsthand how tech could simplify things for millions, how you build something user-friendly that scales up massively. And around 2016, they looked at the investment world in India and saw friction, a lot of it.
Oh, definitely. I remember hearing about it. It wasn't smooth sailing back then, right? Mountains of paperwork. Jargon that sounded like, some secret code only finance professors understood.
Precisely. It felt like reading Tolstoy when you just wanted to, put some money away. It definitely wasn't welcoming for the average person.
So Grow's mission was born out of that frustration.
Exactly. Their core idea was, let's tear down these walls. Let's make a platform so simple, so intuitive that anyone, even someone not super tech savvy, could feel confident starting their investment journey.
And they started with mutual funds.
Yes, mobile first, just a few taps on your phone and you were investing, a world away from the old paper-based system.
Just a few taps. That's a game changer. And it clearly worked because they didn't stop there, did they?
Not at all. For mutual funds, they quickly added more. By 2020, you could trade stocks, buy digital gold, invest in ETFs, even apply for other IPOs, all within the Groww app.
Wow, so like a one-stop shop for investing.
Pretty much. They built this comprehensive toolkit, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. The user numbers are staggering.
How staggering are we talking?
Over 13 million active investors now use Groww. 13 million.
Incredible.
It really is. And get this, they've actually overtaken established players like Zerodha and Angel One in terms of active users.
Wow, so they really tapped into something.
They absolutely did. They reached this huge group of people who wanted to invest but felt locked out before.
Okay, so over 13 million users later, here we are, the big IPO filing. Now, for anyone listening who's maybe a bit fuzzy on what an IPO actually is, can you give us one of your helpful analogies?
Happy to. Think of it like this. Imagine Groww has been like a private club for years, just founders and early backers inside.
Okay.
An IPO is like they're throwing open the doors and having a massive public party. But instead of, cake or party bags,
Right.
they're offering tiny pieces of the company itself shares. You buy a share, you own a little slice of Grow's future. You're hoping the party keeps going, the company does well, and your slice becomes more valuable.
Got it. A public launch party where you could buy a piece of the action.
Mm.
Makes sense. So this Groww IPO, it involves fresh shares, meaning new money for the company,
Correct.
but also something called an offer for sale, or OFS. What's that about?
Right, the OFS part. That's where some of the early investors, we're talking big names like Tiger Global, Peak XV Partners, Ribbit Capital, get a chance to sell some of their existing shares to the public.
Ah, so they get to cash in a bit on their early bet.
Exactly. It lets them realize some returns. Meanwhile, the money from the fresh shares the new ones Groww is issuing, that's capital going straight into the company coffers.
And what do they plan to do with that money?
Groww said they'll use it to boost their tech, make the platform even better, expand the business, probably add more features, just keep making the user experience smoother.
Okay, which brings us to the big question for everyone listening, maybe on their commute or having their morning coffee. Why should you pay attention to this Groww IPO?
Well, first off, it's like a giant flashing sign showing how dynamic India's whole fintech scene is right now.
Yeah, things are moving fast.
Definitely. Grow's story is part of this bigger trend of tech changing everything about finance. And second, their market share is huge, over 26% in retail broking as of March 2025. That shows they've been massively successful in bringing investing to, well, almost everyone.
But it's more than just one company going public. It signals a bigger shift.
Precisely. And for you, as someone interested in finance, it's a potential chance to actually own a piece of a company that's right at the heart of changing how India invests.
Okay, let's pivot to the financials then.
Yeah.
Because the numbers backing this move are pretty interesting.
They really are. Fiscal year 2024, their revenue hit 3,145 crore. That's roughly $378 million. And that's more than double the previous year. It's like you said earlier about the lemonade stand. They've gone from that to a full-blown juice empire, financially speaking.
And profit.
Operating profit was up too by 17%, hitting 535 crore. Healthy growth.
Okay, but I also saw a reported net loss about 805 crore. That sounds less good. What happened there? Was it a big failed project or something?
Good question. That loss figure needs a bit of context. It looks big, but it was mainly driven by a single, very large one-off cost.
Which was?
A tax payment. A hefty one, 1,340 crore. It was linked to them moving their company's official home, their domicile.
Moving it from where to where?
From Delaware in the U.S. back to Bengaluru in India.
Okay. So without that big tax bill from moves.
Exactly. Take that one-time hit away. And they were actually profitable the year before. They made a profit of 449 crore.
So the core business was making money. This was a strategic move cost. You described it before as Groww tacking their bags for Bengaluru, kind of like planting their flag firmly back home.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It shows commitment to the Indian market, aligns them with local regulations, makes dealing with bodies like SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, probably a bit more straightforward.
Right, SEBI, the market regulator. Makes sense. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. How does this Groww IPO fit into the wider picture of India's fintech revolution? It really feels like something big is happening.
Oh, absolutely. India's stock market has been buzzing. 2024 saw a whole wave of IPOs, fueled a lot by everyday retail investors getting involved.
Yeah, lots of interest there.
2025 has been a bit slower, maybe some market adjustments, but Grow's IPO could really kick things up a gear again. And what's key is how they've grown. Their mobile platform just makes investing feel different, less intimidating, almost like scrolling social media, but for your finances.
That user experience seems crucial. We saw data showing a big jump in new accounts and clients in FY25. It feels like they're constantly bringing new people in, especially younger, tech-comfortable folks.
Exactly. They're hitting that sweet spot with India's young population who want to do more with their money than just traditional savings. But it's not all smooth sailing. We have to mention the regulatory side, too.
You mean SEBI's actions?
Yeah, particularly around futures and options trading, F&O. In 2024, SEBI tightened things up there to protect retail investors from excessive risk.
Okay.
Now, those changes could impact revenues for brokers like Groww because trading fees, especially from F&O, can be a big chunk of their income.
That's a really important point. Balancing accessibility with making sure people don't take on too much risk. It's good. Groww has other things too, like mutual funds and gold.
Definitely. Diversification helps. Having mutual funds, ETFs, digital gold, it gives them a broader base, caters to different investor needs and risk levels. It's not all just about active trading.
Right. So let's talk about the people behind it all, the founders. Lalit Keshre, Harsh Jain, Ishan Bansal, Niraj Singh. You mentioned their Flipkart background. That doesn't scream traditional finance.
No, it doesn't. And that's probably a key part of their success. They came from e-commerce, from obsessing about the customer, about making tech easy to use at scale. They brought that mindset to finance.
So simplicity, digital first, making it accessible.
That seems to be their core philosophy. And it's clearly resonated not just with users, but with investors too. The list of backers is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I saw that. Tiger Global, Peak XV, Ribbit Capital. Even Satya Nadella from Microsoft is an investor.
Yep. And Singapore's Sovereign Wealth Fund, GIC, came in too. That's a serious stamp of approval.
GIC, wow. They don't just throw money around, do they?
Not at all. They do intense homework, so their investment adds another layer of credibility. Now, about the IPO strategy itself, this confidential pre-filing, why do that? It feels a bit secretive.
Yeah, like they're giving regulators a sneak peek before the big reveal. One source called it flirting with investors, which I thought was kind of funny.
Huh. It is a good description. Basically, this confidential route lets them talk to SEBI, get feedback, maybe test the waters with potential big investors, all without laying all their cards on the table publicly right away.
Smart. A way to fine-tune things.
Exactly. We're expecting the actual launch maybe late 2025, possibly early 2026. So more details should come out over the next few months.
And they've got a powerhouse team of banks managing it. JP Morgan, Kotak, Citigroup, Axis, Motilal Oswal. That's some serious firepower.
It is. They're planning to list on both main exchanges, NSE and BSE, face value of $2 per share.
And the money raised at $700 million to $1 billion. You mentioned tech upgrades, user experience.
Huh.
Anything else?
Yeah, something quite interesting investing in AI, sure, but also developing features to explain financial jargon in regional languages.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Isn't it? Think about understanding complex finance stuff in your own mother tongue. That could be massive for financial inclusion across India.
Absolutely transformative.
Okay.
So looking ahead, what are the potential bumps in the road for Groww once they're a public company?
Well, like any company going public, especially in a fast-moving sector, there are things to watch. The regulatory landscape, like we discussed with SEBI and F&O, is always evolving.
Right.
Competition is fierce. That won't stop. Market ups and downs, like we saw earlier this year, can affect IPO appetite. And, the market will be watching their profits very closely. They'll need to show consistent growth and profitability.
So challenges are definitely there, but they also have strong points, right? That huge user base, the tech focus, the big name backers.
Absolutely. They got in relatively early with the simplification message, built a strong brand. Their tech is core to what they do. And having experienced investors behind them gives them capital and, likely, good advice.
Which loops us back to why this whole story matters to you listening now. Even if investing felt scary before, platforms like Groww are changing that game.
They really are. They've lowered the barrier to entry. And if this IPO is successful, if Groww keeps growing, we could see even more tools and services designed to help people like you manage your money better.
It feels like part of a bigger shift, too. India's middle class, getting more into investing, looking for ways to beat inflation, build wealth for the future.
Definitely. It's a major trend.
So, wrapping this up, Groww's IPO isn't just about stocks and money. It feels like a symbol, doesn't it? A symbol of India's whole startup buzz. From that chai stall chat in Bengaluru to potentially a multi-billion-dollar public company. It's quite the story, almost like a movie plot, as one source put it.
It really is a fascinating journey, and maybe the final thought to leave with everyone is this. Does this IPO signal a real turning point? Is wealth creation becoming truly democratized in India? And does it make you think differently about your own financial journey, about exploring the options out there?
Something definitely worth mulling over.